All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most secretive and, frankly, most powerful tech companies on the entire planet. A company that, might already know a surprising amount about you.
Think about that for a second. There's a company funded by the CIA that knows where you are right now. Wow. I mean, that is a bold and kind of unnerving claim, right? And it all points to one name.
That company. It's called Palantir. And it might sound like a simple name, but trust me, it was very deliberately chosen, and it is loaded with meaning.
So where in the world does a name like Palantir even come from? Well, as it turns out, its origin story, it pretty much tells you everything you need to know about this company's, let's say, ambition.
Yeah, you're seeing that right. It's a direct reference to J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. A Palantir in the books is a mythical, all-seeing stone. It's this object of just immense power that lets whoever's using it see, well, anything, anywhere. Naming your company after that, that's a pretty bold choice, but honestly, it's also a very, very fitting one.
And the main architect behind this whole all-seeing ambition? Well, it's one of Silicon Valley's most famous and, let's be honest, most controversial figures, Peter Thiel. You probably know him. He's the PayPal co-founder, an early investor in Facebook. He helped get Palantir off the ground way back in 2003.
But here's the thing. Peter Thiel's Silicon Valley cash wasn't the only force behind Palantir, not by a long shot. In fact, its earliest, and you could argue its most crucial backing, it came from a very, very different world.
So get this. Before Palantir was this big Wall Street darling, its very first seed money came from a place called In-Q-Tel. And In-Q-Tel, well, that's the CIA's own venture capital firm. So yeah, right from the very beginning, this company was basically hardwired into the world of American intelligence.
Okay, so you've got CIA backing from day one. The big question is, what was Palantir actually built to do? Well, its original purpose was pretty simple, and honestly kind of chilling. It was built to be an operating system for war.
An operating system for war. I mean, that's a huge claim, right? So how does this digital version of an all-seeing orb, how does it actually work in the real world?
Okay, so at its core, the whole process is, massively complex, but you can really break it down into 3 key steps. First, the software just ingests enormous amounts of data. And I mean enormous. We're talking everything from your social media and financial records to government databases. Then step 2, its algorithms go to work, acting like a superpowered detective, finding all these hidden connections that a human analyst could totally miss. And finally, it weaves all of that together into one single, unified picture, revealing patterns that were completely invisible before.
And that right there, that perfectly captures its original purpose. The whole goal was to give intelligence agencies and military commanders this God's eye view of the battlefield. One single operating system to cut through all the chaos of war and intelligence gathering.
But, a tool this powerful, it was never going to stay confined to the world of spies for long. It was just too valuable. So the company started to make a really strategic pivot. And you can see that pivot right here. I mean, the original mission? It was all about tracking targets for government agencies like the CIA. But then Palantir had this realization. Hey, our technology could solve massive problems for the private sector too. So they started applying the exact same powerful tools to the corporate world.
So here's the key takeaway. It evolved. It became something like a digital consigliere, a trusted advisor using all this data to kind of whisper guidance into the ears of the world's most powerful CEOs, helping them see their own massive businesses with a clarity they never had before.
Which, of course, brings us to the really big question. Now that this technology is in the hands of both governments and giant corporations, what does it actually see?
Well, the applications are just incredibly broad and, let's be real, often highly controversial. Think about it. The very same tools that were designed for the battlefield are now being applied to everyday civilian life. So in the hands of the government, it's used to track suspected terrorists, but also through agencies like ICE to target undocumented immigrants for deportation. Then you hop over to the corporate world. There, it's untangling these massive supply chains for huge companies like Airbus or uncovering complex financial fraud for banks. I mean, from counterterrorism all the way to optimizing candy production, its reach is just staggering.
And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty heavy thought. That all-seeing orb from fantasy novels, it's not fiction anymore. It's software. So when a single company, a company that was born from the world of espionage, can see so much,
what does that really mean for your privacy, for our privacy?